Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to the Diaspora panel where we discuss politics in Nigeria. I have with me today, as always, I have Mr. Ademola Adisa, who is based in the United Kingdom. Mr. Adisa, you are welcome to today's the discussion.
It's nice to be here today. Thank you.
I also have Mr. Ola Lawal in faraway Canada. Mr. Lawal, you're also welcome to today's discussion.
Thank you for having me today.
Let me first of all thank all our viewers who have subscribed. Thank you for your subscription in the last few weeks. We've had a lot of people who have subscribed, and thank you for watching all our episodes. We've had a lot of views. Thank you very much. And let me also tell everyone who has watched but who have not subscribed, subscription is free of charge. Please press that subscription button so that when we do the next video, you'll be one of the first persons to know about it. And if you have anything to tell us, if you want to advise us, or if you want to give us any information, please send your email to info@diasporapanel.com. So today we are going to discuss a few issues that, some of the things that have been raging in Nigeria. So the first one I want us to talk about is the PDP issue. And I want to ask, is PDP dead? Because we saw in the last few weeks what has been going on in PDP. We saw that after the presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, after he has chosen the governor of Delta State, Ifeanyi Okowa, as the vice presidential candidate, a few people have been aggrieved, especially Mr. Nyesom Wike, who was proposed by many members of the party to become the vice presidential candidate. But unfortunately, he was sidelined by the presidential candidate. And not only that, he was treated in a manner that was not gentlemanly. There was no call made to him to let him know he was not choosing. There's no call to let him know why somebody else was choosing ahead of him. And it was kind of, very sharply. So what we've seen now is about 6 governors of the PDP have come together, including the governor of Benue State, Autumn, and the former governor of Ondo State, Ayo Farashi. They've all come together, and they are thinking of what next to do. So it looks like PDP, who fortunately or unfortunately have their base in the southeast of Nigeria and the south of Nigeria, it looks like things are not good according to plan for them and for their presidential candidate. So looking at it in the manner that the core of the PDP is hooked or is rooted in the southeast. And the problem they're having now, they're having problem, first of all, with Peter Obi, who has left the party, is from the southeast. And now Nyesom Wike, who is from the south. So if you take the south and the southeast out of the PDP, I think PDP is dead. So Demola, is PDP dead, or do you think they can bounce back? Let me start with you.
PCP is not dead yet. They are on life support. PDP is a very strong party. It's a big party, but it's been encroaching, degenerating gradually, and it can lead to sudden death. But as of now, they are still breathing, even though they are living on the grace. The disintegration started from them not keeping their word, because the first thing is trust. The members of the party have to have trust in the party, to be loyal to the party. When the party betrays that trust, it's also it has no moral integrity to question anybody who is not loyal to that party. Now, the party has put it in its constitution that the presidency is going to be rotational. and they went back on that promise. Even the last time when in 2019, that Abubakar Atiku contested, he said it emphatically at that time that that is his only chance, that if he lost, he's not going to contest again. The next opportunity should go to the South. Now, for them to remain on that pledge, that is one. Two, even when they throw the thing open, the fight, is the contest fair? It's not, it doesn't look fair. It may look fair to the public, but internally, everybody know that Wike was edged out unfairly. And because of his still loyalty to the party, he didn't take it that bad. In fact, he know it is because he's not only betrayed by the party, but also it was also betrayed by his kinsmen. Because if his kinsmen had stood by him, he won't have lost it. But how did his kinsmen lost and be betrayed him? And that is where the Okowa come in as one of the betrayer. And because of that betrayal, that is why Okowa is able to get the vice presidency. Okowa must have got that vice presidency allocation based on the pledge he made to, that Atiku made to him, that if he managed, he will put him as the vice president. Otherwise, if the old party, as I was saying, if Okowa abstained, all the Eastern votes abstained with Wike will have won the election. However, but even despite all pressure from even the party to make sure that they put everything back together so as to avert all this confusion, the way Okowa was picked and the subsequent alienation of Wike by Atiku has also galvanized this disintegration. Not only Wike, but also Wike's forum, because you will see all those governors that are now challenging the selection of Okowa. Those are the governors that are supporting Wike in the first instance during the primary. And it's also the third force, the third part of it is the issues in the Southeast as of this time. And the momentum that was generated by Peter Obi. So it gave them the impression that it's not that people should not write off the Southeast. Because if people think that the Southeast doesn't have the votes and they cannot galvanize enough votes for PDP to win, if Peter Obi is able to be galvanizing these votes, so it's a big loss to PDP. And now that loss is the Southeast is trying as much as possible to see the possibility of Obi winning and putting pressure on other Easterners to do whatever they can do to make sure that Obi win. So the loyalty of the South and Southeast to PDP is very doubtful. So I won't be surprised that if the Southeast and South vote for local, because all politics now become local.
Yeah.
Now, if they may be voting PDP House of Assembly or Rep, but the presidency, I don't think the PDP will have enough votes in the South and Southeast with the development that is going on now.
Thank you very much. Shupo, If you are looking in a crystal ball, let's say you are Atiku Abubakar, you are looking at what is going on now, you don't have a chance in the Southwest. Now, the North is for play. You have Kwankwaso in the Northeast, in the Northwest, who is very strong in Kano, where the plural, the majority of the votes will come from is in Kano. Now, the area where you have monopoly is Southeast and South-South. Now, Peter Obi is a son of the Southeast. So the Igbo, if they don't vote for him, they'll be committing suicide. So we expect the Igbos to vote for Peter Obi en masse. Wike is from the South-South. So in whichever way you want to look at it, the majority of PDP votes, the highest PDP vote in the last few elections has come from Rivers State. So if you remove the Southeast and remove the South and Rivers State from Atiku Abubakar and from PDP, do you not think PDP is dead?
Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. I think I wouldn't say that PDP is dead, but I think this certainly is a big leadership test for Atiku. And whether he passes or he fails, I think will be a main determinant of how a President Atiku, if he were to be elected, would likely be. I think day by day, as we see this play out, I'm amazed actually, and I will admit that personally, I think even myself in all my analysis, I think I've come to one conclusion, and that is I have significantly underestimated the political calculations of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because if you see what is happening right now, you know, as you rightly said, PDP has only one main potential stronghold in the Southeast, which is Oyo State, with Governor Seyi Makinde. And what is actually happening now is about 5 or 6 of the PDP governors, or probably I would say a significant number of PDP governors, are actually against Atiku's choice for VP. That's a problem. Now, it's a different thing when people are saying something openly and they're saying, you know, a different thing privately. I think the crisis is so bad that these governors are actually speaking their mind openly. Now, you know, people can argue that that may be a good or bad thing for democracy in general, but it certainly paints a picture that Atiku has not been successful thus far, and we still have a lot of time between now and election day, but he has not been successful, you know, in bringing these party members together and in unifying the party. And the reality is, if you cannot unify the party, you cannot unify the country. I mean, it's as simple as that. This is a massive test for Atiku. And I think if he's able to, you know, scale this hurdle successfully, this may make a big push for him for the presidency. If he's not, what is going to happen? I doubt that any of these governors are going to decamp to another party, but they're just going to sabotage his efforts. They're not going to show up powerfully for him on election day. They're not going to mobilize for him powerfully on election day. They're not going to use the machinery of, you know, whatever they have as state governors, you know, to help the PDP win in their respective states. And at the end of the day, that's not going to turn out very, very well for Atiku. So rightly, I think, as you said, the Southwest is, in my mind, I think is gone. I think he's going to have a massive problem with Rabiu Kwankwaso in Kano, which will take a lot of votes from the North. That's where the significant number of votes is in the North. And then, you know, with the third force, you know, every day gaining more momentum, I would say online, because I'm still waiting to see that actually translate into real ground votes. There's not much for Atiku. I don't think the PDP will fall. I think Atiku will fail as a candidate, and again, the PDP will have to regroup as a political party.
Okay, just before we go, one thing that is bothering me, Demola, one thing that keeps bothering me is that Atiku wants to be president of Nigeria, but this man has refused to follow due process. First of all, there is a clause in the PDP constitution that the presidency will rotate from the north and the south. Now, this man has bypassed this clause, has refused to follow that command. Number two, after you have won the primary election fair and square, so the party now set up a committee of 17 people to choose a vice presidential candidate for the party. 14 out of 17 chose Wike. 3 people chose Ifeanyi Okowa. Now, you as a presidential candidate, looking at 14, looking at 3, you decided to choose 3. And even after complaint, you decided you're not bothered. You just believe that because you have been supported by some northern groups, the Northern Elders Forum, that you are going to win this president. So is this the kind of leader that Nigeria requires at this time?
I don't think the leadership of Atiku is not just questionable, but is faulty in all reminiscence, in all circumstances. Now, I've talked about the constitution, the party constitution already, which is against what the choice of Atiku himself. And I was amazed and I was disappointed that Wike did not contest the outcome of that election based on that issue. And but that is him. He must sacrifice a lot for the party. But for him now to be snubbed and for the party, that is when you look at 17 out of 14 out of 17, it's more than 80-something% of the party recognizing and nominating somebody. So your interest, you have put it over the party interest for the second time. Because for him to contest exactly is because of the personal interest over the party interest. And the party allow it. Now, for the second time, the party also said, look, for the interest of the party, for the party to have a good victory at running the election, please put this person as your running mate. It's not them, again, because it's pure arrogance and because it's too powerful than the party. And if he keep on getting away with this type of thing, then the party is dead because it becomes an Atiku party rather than a party of people members. So it's not good for the interest of party when people doesn't think about the general interest, only think about their whole personal interest.
Thank you, Demola. We don't know where. Okay, Shukwa. The question that I want you to answer is, in one of our episodes, I think the last episode, I theorized that if I were Tinubu right now, I would go for Wike. I remember saying that. And in the last few days, we've heard, especially from Joe Igbokwe, who is the right-hand man of Bola Tinubu in Lagos, he's come out and said, hey, Wike and Tinubu met in France. Although somebody else came and rebutted those claims that they didn't meet in France. But the long and short is that Tinubu and Wike, they were in France, in Paris, at the same time. in the last few days. They were both in Paris at the same time. So whether they met or they, but supposing they met, Shupo, what kind of deal do you think can be offered? By whom and to whom, for what? And what would that do?
Okay, so I'd like to point to one thing that you just said before I answer your question. And I hope our viewers are listening. You just said Bola Ahmed Tinubu's spokesperson, Joe Igbokwe,
Yeah.
not Shina Adebayo,
No.
or and I think this is probably one thing, and I will admit this personally, that I that I really underestimated, is how massive Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu's political connections that he has and that he has developed over time actually reaches. This is not only limited to the Southwest. I think this man over a long period of time has built a lot of political alliances pretty much across the country. And I think that is telling, in the number of votes that he had from the delegates. Now, that aside, the fact of the matter is Wike is out of the country, as we understand, on vacation, as well as a couple of other PDP chieftains. And there are rumors that Asiwaju has actually reached out. This is, again, another political calculation from this man that I think is worthy of mentioning. He's not sitting down just, waiting on the machinery that he has built. He's actually reaching across the aisle, building bridges, trying to form a new alliance. Now, is Wike likely going to leave the PDP? I doubt it. And the reason I say that personally is because I think Wike has invested so much in that party. I mean, after Jonathan's loss, Wike was one of the visible party members, and I think also with Bukola Saraki, who went around the country to try and rebuild what was left of the PDP ruins. So he is somebody that I see that has invested a lot in the party, and I thought that I don't think he's going. This is my own thinking. I don't think he's going to leave all of that and then go to the APC where he's going to start, pretty much all over again. That's the reality. However, I also don't think that he needs to leave the PDP to make an alliance with Asiwaju. So, people can always sabotage from within, in the hope that, after that election, there's going to be something bigger, for them. So it's yet to be seen, but I will tell you that the fact that Asiwaju is already, getting into Atiku's party, trying to pick support here and there, tells you how forward-thinking and how much of a political strategist this man is.
Thank you very much. Okay, so finally, I just want us to touch on something. I'm not sure whether Demola is here now. Okay, I think he's here. So what I want us to touch on, what this all comes down to, is the votes. So briefly, Demola, what does this translate to for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar? If 6 governors in your party, for example, the governor of Benue State says, I'm not sure if I'm going to vote for Atiku Abubakar. I'm not sure if I'm going to work for him. I'm waiting on God to direct me. That's a way of politicians telling you, I'm not going to support you. Ayefara came out and said, in 2023, is either a Southern president or nothing. So when people are making this kind of statements, and when you have 6 governors, out of, I think they have about 12 in the PDP, If you have about 6 governors came out and said, we're not supporting you, what does this come down to for Atiku Abubakar? Demola.
It doesn't speak well for not for just Abubakar Atiku, but also for the party in the next election, in next year election, because we can have a domino effect on that election as well. So it's something that is a long time to 2023. The party can still rally around and make amend as soon as possible. So we cannot predict the outcome of the election based on that for now. So I hope they do something about it and they put their house in order. But it's only saying something that the house is divided, is open now. And the strength and of the party of galvanizing all the party members is not on that strong as is expected. So,
Okay.
and it may not only be because of the party alone, it may also be because of who they are contesting. I won't be surprised if APC and Asiwaju Tinubu are not working to also get people that are disenchanted to their side. I see a lot of people they go around the moment they find out that you are not happy with your party, they are trying to lure you and entice you into their support. So there can be a lot of political jingling going around before we have stability. So I won't be surprised if Tinubu and the APC are not already working on the ground to get all these people support that are not happy with the PDP.
Thank you, Demola. Shukwa, finally on this topic, what will happen if you have, because what the 6 governors are saying, including Fayose, are saying is that we want Wike. I mean, the party is now divided into 2. Atiku on one side with Ayu, Wike, Fayose, Autumn on the other side. And if you are going to have the presidential candidate, we want the vice presidential candidate. And we want Wike, our man, to be the vice presidential candidate. So if this other camp stuck to their guns and said, we want you to remove Ifeanyi Okowa, who to them is a traitor. This is the man who conveyed a meeting in his own backyard in Asaba. You remember the famous Asaba declaration where they decided that it's either vice president, it's a southern presidency or nothing in Asaba. He was the one who conveyed the meeting in Asaba, while he was secretly working for the emergence of another candidate so that he could become a vice president. So they are saying that we don't want this man. So if they stuck to their gun and say, okay, it's either you give us Wike as vice president or we'll do our worst. If that continues until the election day, how do you think what do you think is going to happen?
It's going to be an abysmal showing for Atiku Abubakar is what's going to happen. I think Atiku must be the most insensitive presidential candidate, to be quite frank, because the one move that I think he could have taken that would have at least showed that he was serious about unifying the party which was what actually Bola Ahmed Tinubu did after he won the candidacy. After the northern governors, in a united front came back and said, no, power must go to the south, and rejected Lawan's last minute bid to get the candidacy. What did Bola Ahmed Tinubu do? He gave the choice of the VP back to the northern governors. That's how you play politics. And if you do that now, you see, people always say that there are no permanent friends in politics, there are only permanent interests. Agreed. But even the permanent interest has to come with some level of integrity. People have to be able to make a deal with you, trusting that whatever we agree to today will happen tomorrow. That's what people want. So when Asiwaju was selected, he gave the VP slot selection back to the Northern government and said, you choose. When he talked about what happened during the Buhari time, after Buhari was selected, what happened? They asked Bola Ahmed Tinubu, bring 3 names for VP. This is how people do politics. Now, if you look at Atiku, Atiku did the exact opposite of all of that. Initially, when he ran in 2019, he ran on the promise that it's a northern candidate now. After this time go round, it will go back to the south. He ran and he failed. Now, the Southerners are now saying, okay, it's our time. He came and he crushed all of that. Now, what would have been the easiest thing for him to have done? The easiest thing for him to have done would have been, okay, South, you pick my VP. That would have been a very good way for him to bring everybody together and rally the party ground. What did he do? He said, well, no, it's my choice. And he went and picked Okowa. And now they are not saying this privately. They're actually saying this publicly. It's your choice. And then you run for the presidency. Run alone. That's what's going to happen to Atiku. He will be alone, all alone, right through to the election, if he does not, figure out a way to amend this, which is really very, very unfortunate. And I think this strikes very much to the heart of the candidate himself. I see Atiku now as a candidate that is so selfish and self-centered that cannot build bridges across even his own party. Political parties are very diverse in membership, and the challenge for leaders is to be able to build those bridges across tribal and religious sentiments. So far, Atiku Abubakar has shown that he is unable, and I'm saying so far, he is unable to build bridges even within his own party across religious and tribal sentiments. And that makes him the most unqualified candidate to rule Nigeria.
Thank you, Shupo. So I think he has now become an emperor in his own party. Atiku has become an emperor, which is unacceptable in a democracy. So anyway, the next thing I want us to discuss is the issue of the former Deputy Senate President of Nigeria, Ekweremadu, who has been detained. Has been detained in the United Kingdom for organ harvesting, for organ harvesting, something about in the UK. So, and Demola, fortunately, you live in the UK. You know what the laws are. So, from what I read and in the way I understand it, he took somebody from Nigeria to the UK, a 21 or 25-year-old boy who was said to have been picked on the streets. He was homeless. And then he took this young boy to the UK, and then on the understanding that he was going to give him a better life in the UK. And when they got to the UK, and this boy was taken to the hospital, the boy said he didn't know why he was in an hospital. It looked like the boy said that he was not actually told that he's donating his organ. But anyway, he went to the hospital, and the doctor, after talking to the boy, found out that the boy was a 17-year-old. So he's a minor. On foot of that, the doctor, we understand, contacted the police, and the police got involved, and Ekweremadu was arrested. And even on the day of arrest, they found about $20,000 in cash on him, which was immediately seized. And then he was taken to court and he was detained, for organ harvesting. So the question, the question I want to ask you first is there no hospital in the whole of Nigeria that can do an organ transplant? You're unmuted, please. Please unmute.
Now, let me put a lead on some of the story. The explanation is one, Ekweremadu's daughter has a kidney problem, and they sought a donor. And they had, according to their own side, from Ekweremadu's side of the story, they have a consultation with the family of the donor, but the donor was something like the donor, anyway, let me get their own side of the story first. So, and they apply for visa for the donor, and they explain in that they are coming, the donor is coming. They were open, they were very open in the application for visa that is coming to donate organ. Now, the other side of the story is that the donor was approached by a friend who looked like an agent, that if he want to go to abroad for a better life and get a job, he has somebody can get him over there. The boy doesn't think it's possible, but he said yes. And eventually they came over. His expression is that he's going there to work. And so all the story about on what ground the visa was, he didn't undo any of those issues. Or they got passport and everything for him, and he was taken to London. This man left his home state in the east to Lagos. He was homeless, so he had no relative in Lagos. So they say there was no any consultation with any of the family members about his journey to London. Anyway, when they got here, and the boy was undergoing some tests, and during the test, because they have to know how if the organ is compatible at all sorts, and the consultants have to also confirm his consent. It is when they now explain everything to him that this is what he's going to do that the boy was surprised. And they said, no, that he didn't know about that. All they would say, all he's aware is they are doing a medical check on him to see if he's suitable for the job. And that is when the medical consultants refer to the police, and the issue about his immigration status also coming. There are three phases on that. One is that he was underage, that he was about 50 or 70 years old. The other verification was that from the BVN and national identity card he has is 21. But the visa itself and the passport that he used to enter the country was about 41. So
about how many?
41 years old.
41.
So there is discrepancies, those things need to be sorted out. So that is why the Nigerian Immigration Service are also being consulted to verify exactly what is the true age and what is the true immigration status of the donor. Now, and apart from this, also, they find out that he has a lot of money on him that was not declared at the point of entry. So that is also been, so there are a lot of issues, one on immigration, one on illegal human trafficking and harvesting of women's organ, and the other is also on.
There are a lot of issues involved. But what I want us to trash out is, why do our leaders always go for this, what we call medical, what do you call it now? This going abroad, medical tourism. Like, is there no, I mean, we've had democracy now since 1999. It's about 20 years. About 20 years of democracy now. Let's forget about the military rule. So if we have our democracy about 24 years, so in 24 years, with all the money Nigerians have had from oil, from, from all these revenues, do we not have one single hospital in Lagos, in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, in Kano, in Sokoto, in any of these statistics? We do not have one hospital that can do an organ transplant. We do not have a Nigerian medical doctor in Nigeria who can do an organ transplant.
No, we have, and there are facilities, there are hospitals, there are personnel. Nigerian doctors are excelling in all this. But you ask yourself why people are preferring to come abroad. The presidents have also doesn't lay a good example himself. All his medical checks are done not in Abuja or in Lagos or in Nigeria. He's always there, coming over here for his check. If they have trust and belief in our personnel and our infrastructures and facilities at home, they won't be coming abroad. Organs have been transported in Nigeria and they have been successful with whatever resources and with whatever equipment and facility they have. But when people reach a certain stage in their political life, they don't have trust in their country anymore. Because they have the resources, they have the wherewithal, they believe they have to get the best anywhere in the world. When the best are even at the tip of their nose, they won't value it. They will think that until when they go abroad, either to go to Dubai or to go to America or to go to Britain or even to go to India, that is when they can get the best. Whereas the best hands are there in Nigeria. And all they need, they do, even if they do, is to give these people more support and to make sure that our health facilities are well developed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Demola. Shukwo, let me come to you. Now, Shukwo, I'm going to ask you exactly the same question that I've asked Demola. Now, we've seen our president in the last 7 years. Anytime he wants to, anytime he thinks something is there's something in his ears, he will run quickly to London. Anytime he goes to the toilet and his urine is yellow, he will quickly go to London. So we've seen this over and over, this medical tourism. And not just him, most of our leaders, they come abroad for medical checkups. Right now, we have that the APC presidential candidate now has gone to Paris. We don't know whether he's on medical grounds. So is this some kind of colonial mentality? Because there are a lot of Nigerian doctors, brilliant doctors all over the world. I remember that Senator Adeyeye told the Senate at some point that in 1963, the UCH in Ibadan was the best in the Commonwealth. In fact, the people, the king of Saudi Arabia, they used to send their, they used to send their
family members,
their princes here for treatment. And I remember there are some point back, if you go to Saudi Arabia, about 50% of the doctors in Saudi Arabia, they are Nigerians. So we have this human resource. We have it. Most of the best surgeons in the world are Nigerians. So, but why have our politicians built a country that is unworkable? That the only way they can get a good medical treatment is to go abroad.
Well, I think it's a very complicated problem, but I think one of the things that we have to understand is the mentality of the average Nigerian is that everything abroad is always better. And it's not only when it comes to healthcare, it also includes buying different goods and services. I mean, people would be willing to buy something that is imported than something that is locally manufactured. Not understanding the fact that sometimes what is locally manufactured, may have a better quality, or if they don't patronize local, the local quality cannot get as good or even better than what is imported. So there's a mentality portion of the problem, which I'm not sure exactly how that can be tackled. But more importantly, I would say that the reason why medical tourism is a big problem in Nigeria is because there are no facilities. I think, as you rightly said, there are many Nigerian doctors in different parts of the world who do very well. The reason they do very well is because they do very well in established systems. We need a national healthcare system in Nigeria, and I would say, quite frankly, we don't have one. We actually don't. We don't have a national healthcare strategy, or maybe we have one on paper, but it's not implemented. So this is something that we need to address. And I think one positive learning we can take away from this Ikweremadu case is that if leaders build the right infrastructure in their own country, they will have no reason to be going abroad for any of these types of treatment. They will have no reason. If there are good hospitals in Nigeria where these transplants can be performed, there will be no reason for them to go to the UK. Now, you can argue then that at home, these are people who traditionally have never really played by the rules. I mean, I don't know Ikweremadu personally, but I think Nigerian politicians generally are used to not playing by the rules. So when they go to other countries as well, they think they can do as they, would be able to do in Nigeria, which unfortunately doesn't happen. I mean, these are countries that have laws on the books, and those laws are not just on the books, they are enforced. So I think that, we will await more information to come out from the investigation. But the reality is that we do not have a national healthcare system in Nigeria, at least one that will, guarantee some form of treatment or make medical treatment available to Nigerians, in different shapes and fashion. If you go to many other countries, the problem that you will find is probably long waits for surgeries. Maybe people not being treated, quickly. There's a backlog, but at least there's a system. In Nigeria, there is not even a system at all. You are at the mercy of your family or, to well-meaning Nigerians if you have a serious ailment, which is unfortunate in a country that is so blessed with material and human resources.
Thank you very much, Shukwa. And the next topic I want us to have a look at is Peter Obi. It does seem to be having a surging personality profile online. And left to me, I don't think Peter Obi actually needs the Southeast and the South-South to succeed. From what I'm looking at, Peter Obi's constituency is the NSAS movement. I mean, you are talking about youths, that flocks across the southern part of Nigeria. So it's going to get, we are looking about almost about 20 million votes. If he can get it out, if he can mobilize these people, push them out to go and vote, to go and get their voting cards and actually work on them to actually come out on the day of the election and cast their vote, is looking about 20 million votes. I don't know whether it's going to get any votes from the North. That's why it needs an alliance, allow with Kwankwaso, or with somebody with some pedigree that can deliver some votes in the North. I think if you can deliver a woman, a Muslim woman from the North who can, galvanize the women vote from the North, which is massive. If you can get that out and combine that with the NSAS votes in the South, and whatever votes now block vote you get from the South or Southeast will be an added vote for him. So, Bob, let me start with you, Shupo, because you are the one who seems to really, you are following this very, very keenly. We've had a lot of talks on the social media, but one thing I've not seen is that Peter Obi, if you look at what happened in the Obama movement, Obama had a versatile website where people will go, you will register with your email, and they were able to get about millions of emails where he was able to disseminate information into people's inboxes every day. I haven't seen Peter Obi done that. If Peter Obi, what I'm expecting for him to set up a kind of website, all these NSAS people, boys, girls across, let them go there, register their name with their email address, where he can every day, talk to them, release information and carry them along as a block, and they'll tell them the problem. We haven't seen that. Do you think Peter Obi really knows his constituency and how to go about it? Do you think he knows how to harvest this constituency?
Well, I know that he can certainly do better. I think, a lot of people that I have seen on social media that have been canvassing for him are actually people that are doing this, pretty much on their own volition. I've seen posts from people, for example, that are asking for help in certain parts of the country to try and galvanize and unify all of these various movements that is happening, in their own individual kind of pockets, so to speak. But I think you are right. There needs to be some kind of a national strategy, to aggregate all of these individual efforts that are going on in different places. But I will tell you that there's a lot of energy for this candidate. There is a lot of energy within the youths and across the country, actually, not only in the South. I've even seen in the North, northern youths for Peter Obi in Kano and a couple of the other North Central states that are actually canvassing. On one occasion, I think one of them actually reported the chairman for the Labour Party in their state as being non-responsive and asking for either he be replaced or something be done. So this is new, I think, in Nigeria, but I will say that this is actually very good because for the first time in Nigeria, I can see a movement that cuts across religious and tribal sentiments. All of these people that are canvassing online have one purpose, and that is they believe Peter Obi will provide a better governance for Nigeria. They believe he has the right vision to lead Nigeria to where Nigeria ought to be. Now, whether these online movements will galvanize into actual massive votes on election day is another challenge. But for the first time, This is something that I see, which I think is very good actually, because this is the only way that Nigeria can be unified as a country, irrespective of your tribe or your religious inclinations, that people are able to galvanize around a set of ideas that is good for the country, that will move the country forward, and that will include as many Nigerians as much as possible.
Thank you, Shukwa. Demola, two issues I want you to trash out, I want you to talk about on this is that we have seen a lot of these youths who have showed their exuberance. They are coming out, they are abusing anybody that doesn't align with them. They are talking, fire for fire. It's either you support us or if you don't support us, we'll trash you. And we don't think that's the way to go about this. So do you think this will affect Obi's campaign negatively? Do you think this can halt his campaign?
Yeah, obedient group initially I buy the idea, but with the trend of things as it's going on, I don't think it will work. I will tell you on the three different reasons. One, we have this type of movement with Teshowore. It was all over media and it has followers across the country like this. It never turned into votes. Two, I've said it earlier on that there was not enough infrastructure that can gather the votes, the energy into votes. And I'm still yet to be proved wrong. At the same time, the goodwill is waning. It's winning now because it seems the group is being hijacked by the independent people of Biafra, with all these sentiments about the East against the rest of the country. And when they are becoming sectionalized, they're becoming tribalistic. And everything they are saying on their platform now is either Obi or nobody, and they're castigating every other tribe. It seems that group has been hijacked by the Biafra movement. And if this goes on, it will end to nowhere. And yes, the youth won't change. PYO would have been the ideal, where that is why PYO have all movement and all sympathizers and fans everywhere in the country. And sincerely, if APC have chosen a PYO, there will be less move. There won't be any problem with the youth going to anywhere. But unfortunately, the APC doesn't. And that is what gives Obi the chance. If PIO was on the ticket, Obi will have no chance. And now, Obi also falsifying information, saying things without any verifiable data, just castigating, and you have been government. What you are preaching, you never practice it when you're government. So it's really discrediting the whole movement. And I don't think it will succeed. I can tell you that. Even the East, the way they are going, because the other parties are also mobilizing their youth forum, their youth groups, and also trying to make sure that they have forces everywhere within the youth. So Obi are making noise, but I don't see it turning to vote.
Thank you very, very much. Okay. One thing also that I want us to touch on is the issue of certificates. We've had a few candidates in the different parties. They said that their certificate is missing, either it's been stolen or whether it's been one way or the other, they lost their certificate. And as we know that the Constitution of Nigeria, says that if you want to be a president, I think you must have a minimum of a school certificate. So, which means that if you have a university certificate, it's even more better. But I'm not sure whether the Constitution says that you must produce your primary school certificate and your secondary school certificate. Well, I don't know where my primary school certificate is. To be honest with you, I don't know where it is. But I have my secondary school certificate. So, and I have my higher institution certificate. So, Demola, let me get you to answer this first. If you attend a primary school, you attend a secondary school, and you attend a university or a polytechnic, whatever you attended, and then you need to tender your certificates, for this kind of situation where, because you are contesting an election, all you need to do is to go back there and say, go back to your alma mater, or go back to your secondary school and say, meet the principal and say, can you give me a copy of my certificate? Or can you give me a transcript? Or can you give me a letter? So I don't understand. So why are our politicians behaving as if, why are they behaving with impunity? Why are they doing this? Because our democracy now has got to a position whereby they can do whatever they like and get away with it. Because I don't understand if, for example, somebody says that I went to Igbo grammar school in Ibadan, but my certificate was lost, at some point. Then you go back there and get a copy. Demola, what do you think?
Now, there are two ways that I want to look at it. One, the last time I looked at the electoral system, what it's saying is you must have minimum qualification. And if you have beyond that minimum qualification, it make you qualify. All these people that we are contesting their primary, secondary, or whatever, they have already go through INEC in certain position or the other before. And INEC has certified them that they are qualified education-wise. So all this noise about certificate or no certificate is rubbish. As far as I am concerned, it doesn't hold water. These people have proof not only that they are knowledgeable, but also they are proof of language and cooperation and communication in local and English language. So I don't think all those issues are issue at all. It's only when politician doesn't have anything good to say, or they cannot criticize you for any other thing about policies, that they go into all this rubbish about certificate or educational qualification. So every contestant so far that I have known have been certified by the INEC at one point or the other because of their political careers. And also they have hold position of responsibility or administrative responsibility in big organizations that of which they cannot be there without those educational attainments. So that is, to me, all these are distractions. It doesn't hold water.
Okay, thank you.
But hold on. But the second part of it is, all this, if these people, either they have a bad report in their school or whatever, or they are not successful or whatever, there's no certificate cannot be retrieved. If you know your year of sitting down for WAEC, you can go to WAEC. They will trace it. You may pay something or whatever to buy it. You can get your certificate back. You know your secondary school level, where you start your secondary school. Records are kept in schools perpetually. They don't destroy it. You can go there, trace it, and get back all your certificates. All these certificates, even if it's abroad, they will still in this country. In UK, if you don't have lost your certificate, all you need to do is to verify your years of academic or whatever. They will issue another one. So all these are retraceable one way or the other, but I don't know. At one time, these issues are private and individual. You can't ask me about my certificate or whatever now, I won't give you. But when you are going for public offices, then you become a public utility. Then you need to be as transparent as possible. So transparency need to come here as well. But to me, I don't think these people are talking about education, manner qualification for those positions they are asking for. They are well qualified for it.
Thank you very much, Chukwu. Please unmute yourself first of all. I think that the reason why we need to discuss this is because we live in the Western world. In the Western world where we live, if you want to be in politics, you have to be transparent. You have to be completely clean. We must ask you questions. I mean, you cannot run away from scrutiny. So when somebody, I think we have to, this is because the elephant in the room here is Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the elephant in the room. We have to talk about this. So if somebody now says, I want to be president of Nigeria, there's no doubt that he is learned. Nobody is disputing that you are learned. Nobody is disputing that you went to school. I mean, from you, we listening to you speak English, we know that you are very, very well read. That's not the question. And the intent of the Constitution is to make sure that whoever is going to become a president of a country like Nigeria is learned. Well, we are talking about the morality of this. If you want, if any Nigerian is applying for any job, for example, if Tinubu wants to employ you, he will ask you to go and bring out your certificate. You must bring it. He wants to see it. But it's now applying for a job from us. We are the one now employing you. But you are saying you cannot give us your certificate. Okay, if your certificate is faulty, which school did you go? Tell us. You are not disclosing the school you went. You did not disclose your primary school. You did not disclose your secondary school. And you are saying that you are applying for this job and we must let you have the job. Does that sound like somebody who should be president?
Okay, so whether or not he should be president, I think is a separate issue. But I think if we look at this issue squarely, I have several reasons why I believe that the truth is not coming out here. And I think I will agree with you, as you said, that, I mean, when we listen to him, he's obviously a learned person. At least it comes across that way. Which school he went to, what he studied, when he graduated, those issues and those things, if you put them all together, should add up to his profile as a candidate. Really is what it should be. But what happens is when people have lied at some point in time, they've misstated the facts, so to speak, you probably need more lies to be able to cover that up. So if all of this actually comes out when he went to primary school, when he went to secondary school, the college or university he attended, if the right dates and everything comes out, I think Nigerians will be able to paint a picture of relatively how old he should be. That, I think, is the crux of the matter. So, should candidates be credible? I think they should, because it speaks to the heart of who they are as a person. So, if people are transparent and they tell the truth, I don't think it will take away from people voting for him. If he comes out to say, this is how old I am, this is the school I went to, but this is my vision. You can actually win that argument by saying, this is the vision I have, for the country. I agree with Mr. Adisa that, people who are bringing this up because they probably, don't have anything better to, in terms of, policy differences or ideology that they can use as a platform to distinguish themselves, within with other candidates. So, is it important? I think it is, because it speaks volumes to the person of the candidate himself. And I think Ashiwaju will actually can, kill all of these rumblings by just coming out and stating the fact. Just tell us how old you are. Tell us which schools you went to. That's the first thing. The second thing also is this issue should not be left to candidates. I think INEC has a role to play in this, in vetting candidates that come forward for elected offices. And the way they can do that is by asking candidates to submit certain information that will validate their qualification to run for that office, and have an independent process whereby they can actually verify that information. That's the way this should be done. It should not be left to the candidate to quell these notions, as is done, for example, in the US, when people were saying that, Barack Obama, for example, was not born in the US. I mean, come on. His birth certificate and all that, was vetted. So if he was allowed to run through the democratic process, it's because, his candidacy and all of those other things has been, vetted by an independent organization, which will do that across board for all candidates. So I think actually INEC should be the one coming to the table to say, we've actually vetted his qualifications and we're satisfied that he does meet the minimum requirements.
Okay, thank you, Shukwo. And that will be the end of today's discussion. So just before we pull down the curtain on this conversation, let me give you a minute each to say your social media declaration for today. I'll start with you, Demola. If you want to advise Senator Eke Kidemadu, who is now standing trial in the UK, and use that as a template for all Nigerian politicians, what do you think they should have done better instead of them running to the UK for medical tourism?
I sympathize with Ekweremadu on one sense, because just like any other parent, I will do everything within my power to make sure to save the life of my child. But I believe this should be done in a reasonable way, and also in a way that will not affect the life of other people as well. And if we are being in a position of power, he has been in the Senate for almost 20 years as a senator. He has the opportunity to have make our health system a little much better than it is. He has a right to have, if I've done his part to improve the health and welfare of Nigerians, maybe our daughter will have been benefiting from it now, and he would not have been in this position. It's a lesson for all politicians, and that we need to develop our health infrastructure, as well as education, as well as both utility infrastructure as well. Not because of us alone, but because of generation to come. We may feel that we can afford it because we have so much money, but we will build a legacy for others who will not doesn't need that money. And the trap we set may be the one that we are falling into. If we have done it well, our daughter will have benefited from Nigeria facilities rather than being embarrassed abroad now.
Thank you very much, Ademola. And Shukwo, I want you to advise Peter Obi what he needs to do to galvanize this political goodwill that he has among the youths, especially among the NSAS movement.
So my advice to Peter Obi will be between now and election day to begin a national strategy to actually get all of these various little groups in different parts of the country to begin to work together. One, to register people to vote on election day. Secondly, to mobilize candidates across the country for the Labour Party, because he needs that support if elected into both chambers of the House of Representatives, as well as the Senate. His presidency and his vision cannot go anywhere if he does not have the right support within both chambers of. So this is very, very, very important. Otherwise, he's going to be elected president and he will be a lame duck. And last but not the least, is that he should begin between now and election day to have regular touch point meetings, which can be done online through Twitter, for example, with these various individual groups that are springing up. A lot of the effort I've seen on social media are individuals taking it upon themselves to register people, to talk to people. He has that capital. He needs to galvanize everything into a massive online movement. And I believe between now and election day, it is very, very possible.
Thank you very much, Ugo. So we've come to the end of today's discussion. And I want to thank you guys for a wonderful job done for all the different topics that we've spoken about. And again, let me, advise all our viewers. We thank you again for being there all the time, week after week. Please tell your friends to subscribe. And the reason is that once they subscribe, they will be able to see all our new videos. And if they want, or if you want to send us any advice, please send your advices to info@diasporapanel.com. And can I say that subscription is free of charge? You are not charged for it. It's completely free. So just click on that red button, subscribe, so that anytime we have a new video, you'll be one of the first people to hear about it. Please share this video. Let it go around. We discussed about 4 or 5 different topics today. I'm sure that a lot of people want to hear these opinions, and it will help to shape our democracy. So let me say very good thank you to Mr. Ademola Disa, who has given us his time this afternoon. Mr. Disa, you are muted, by the way. And Mr. Disa, thank you very much for coming on to the show.
I'm very happy. Thank you so much. And
also Mr. Olalawal, who was, giving us his morning, to come to today's meeting. So Mr. Lawal, thank you for a wonderful contribution for today.
Thank you for having me.
And to all our viewers, we missed one of our contributors, Mr. Ola, who is unavoidably absent. We hope that's going to join us next Sunday. And to all our viewers, we say thank you for being there. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for watching this program week after week. And we hope that we'll see you again next week. And God bless you. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.